Okay, so I get people send me stuff all the time. My buddy Rob sent me a video that I've seen before. Well, I haven't seen that video before, but I mean, I've heard the arguments before. So this is the problem with Protestants and end times prophecy. So everybody's got one. There's all these, every Protestant church has one, and no matter which one you look at, they're all different. Okay, I mean, that's just because they don't have the foundation of faith and reason, I think. So I've been to meetings of, Protestant groups, and they had some handouts, and we talked about the statue in the prophecy of Daniel with, what's his name? I can't remember his name. The Babylonian king. And I've heard a couple of different renditions, I've heard people talk about, more than one creation story. All these things that are kind of like, I don't know. They don't really stimulate me. And usually it was the people that were telling me about it were pretty goofball. I'm pretty secular, but they were, I don't know, man. It just seems to me like people can overdo it. They can overdo it. So when it comes to having a Bible argument with somebody that's already got their mind made up, right? Maybe even incorrectly. You can't, a person can't argue with hate. And some of these, discussion topics deserve hours, maybe 40 hours. And it'll require a lot of research. Which is why I'm not saying that I don't look into other things, because I do. I've always been leery of looking into the Apocalypse of John. It's overwhelming. I don't have enough Bible knowledge to comprehend it. I have some Bible knowledge, but it's mostly in practical application and in the poetic sense, man. I mean, the things that I like about the Bible are the poetic parts, the allegories, the stories, the lessons that Jesus taught about just being a person and walking around day to day. That's what I think. And then so I get caught up in we can't even really call what's going on, quote, politics, close quote. We can't do that. Can't call politics politics. It's not politics. The government's involved in all kinds of things that politicians don't have any business in. They talk about the separation of church and state. You can't separate church from anything. Church is everything. That's the thing about being Catholic, is it's everything. Now, trying to defend the Catholic Church these days, right, with the Pope that we have, is impossible. The guy's indefensible. Our church it's a joke. It's goofy. It's like partly Protestant. It's not the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is not the Catholic Church. It's what it seems like to me. I go to church, and if I'm not wearing a mask, I get shunned. They don't like me. They don't want me. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't say anything, but I could tell I'm the only one in there not wearing a mask. And it's the priests, the fathers, right? I mean, I imagine there are some that may somehow with their education have been fooled into thinking that any of this mask stuff is true. The obedience. You see, this is one of the things that's bothered me, is obedience. These guys are obedient to things they should not be obedient to. Which is why I understand why Martin Luther got mad. And Martin Luther was a guy kind of like me. Probably used some foul language and stuff. I mean, he was an angry dude. He's like me. I'm an angry dude too. But I can't defend the Pope. I can't defend the Pope. He's signed on 100% with the World Economic Forum. You know, people talk about the prophecies of Daniel because they're trying to keep a political argument alive. That is pointless. It's just pointless, man. You're going to tell me that the people in D.C. are what they claim to be, period? Like, the Democrats aren't Democrats and the Republicans aren't Republicans. And they just, all the things that they've done recently are, they have no honor. They have no honesty. They have no, there are no qualities at all whatsoever in being in charge of anything. Like, they should be arrested. They should all be arrested, you know, and prosecuted, you know. But they're the court, and like, what good would it do to go to the freaking court? The court's just as corrupt. Our local court is just as corrupt as every other thing that I look around and see. There's nothing true anymore. And nobody cares. So my friend sent me the video, and I want to have a conversation with them about it. See, Bible arguments are hard. They take time. Like, this is something like we're gonna if we have a conversation, we're gonna have a conversation about this topic you picked, brother. Okay? It's gonna take some time. We're gonna have to open books, and we're gonna have to ask for help. Because there are people that know more about it than we do. I can't defend the government of my church. It's indefensible. The Pope is not the Pope. The church is not the church. But there's sort of a I don't know, what would you call it? A great awakening going on. And a lot of people are returning to the traditional values. But they have, in my opinion, right, a lot of character flaws that make them very unattractive. You know, like, one, the air of superiority. What did G.K. Chesterton say about it? The church is the only thing that is superior without being supercilious. Okay? Now, my friend Larry's going to tell me I'm using circumlocution. More words than are necessary to explain something. That's not true. So what Larry's doing, that's a lie too. And that makes me angry when people lie to me. I don't like it. You know, and then when they accuse me of something. So Larry, when you talk to him, uses no words to describe anything. He gives you retarded slogans. I read one today on Facebook. You can't save somebody that doesn't want to participate in their own rescue. Okay? That's nonsense. That's just fucking nonsense. Of course you can. Of course it happens all the time, every day. So, for instance, you're on drugs, you run around town, you steal something. Okay? The cops are going to come and they're going to rescue you. Right? And they're going to rescue the person that you're hurting. And they're not going to participate. They're going to stand there and watch. They're going to watch the police arrest the guy. And they're going to take the guy off the street. And they're going to try to, quote, rehabilitate, close quote. Which is ridiculous. Two, because our penal system, our punishment system, is fucking ridiculous. Nobody fucking learns a goddamn thing. You know how many people don't get off parole? It's like a rare number. The people that do get off parole usually go on to be pretty successful. Or at least normal, you know, average, ordinary. And isn't that the goal? Don't we all want to be ordinary? Or do we want to put on these, you know, masks? Let's put on a mask. I'm a big bad motherfucker. I'm a gangster. I'm gonna fuck kill people and steal shit and go to jail and fucking I can fight and duke stand. You know, it's like, hey, you know, you're fucking pathetic. Shut the fuck up. I don't like you. I don't like people like that. I don't like them. I don't like that attitude. It doesn't serve anybody but that person's imagination and their ego. And it's irritating to have to deal with. You know, over the years, I've gone through my own ego fantasies. I mean, I've had several of them, and it ruined my life, and it hurt my loved ones. So I say, you know, if we're gonna have this conversation, we have to really take the time to do it. The real state. See, I took a little bit of notes because I want to be completely extemporaneous, which is why it probably sounds even more extemporaneous than normal. So we talked about the Daniel statue and, you know, my experience with that. But when I watched the video, you know, it came to this point where the papacy is blasphemy. Okay, well, there's clearly a bunch of Bible verses where Jesus told the apostles that they could, should, and would, and were commanded to forgive sins. They were supposed to heal. They would go out to preach the gospel, to heal and to forgive sins. And forgiveness of sins is part of healing. You know, you have to, you know, you can't live yesterday, right? You're forgiven for your mistake because you recognize it. And now you can go on and try and sin no more. Don't obey the commands. All right? So if I obey the commands of not sinning, that's great. But if I obey the church when they tell me I have to wear a mask, that's not great, because I believe that to be a plot to murder a great number of people. There were some interesting things that he brought up, like he brought up oh dear, hold on. He brought up dang it, I just had it. Anyways, there were some points, but when it got to the end, right, and they started accusing the Catholic Church of being something that it wasn't, okay? But you can't call what, but we have the church. We just can't call it that. Anybody that's going to be honest with themselves can't call it that. And, oh, there it was. So it was talking about the fourth part of the statue, right, is the feet and the roots, the toes, the clay, the fourth age, if you want to call it, which is interesting because Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum has come up with the fourth industrial revolution. The Great Reset. The Great Reset. What a neat thing to call, you know, the genocide of all you useless people. Sorry, we have no use for you people. It's time for you to die. That's what they're calling the Great Reset. And it's funny, you know, because in the prophecy he was talking about how Rome had been divided, which I agree with. Rome was never conquered, and was divided and dispersed. And you can tell because of all the constitutions and Bill of Rights and all of the countries that he was talking about in that video are identical to ours. So our Constitution is no different than the Irish Constitution or the English Constitution or any other constitution. What makes us spectacularly unique is the Declaration of Independence. However, we are no longer independent. We are not independent from England. Everybody's doing the same thing in every one of those countries right now. They're trying to unify it again, which is an interesting topic to bring up. Shamrock. That deserves some attention, I think. That's fascinating. And I think that we ought to have more than one view and what's really difficult, right? Because, I mean, we'll go to talk to my Catholic friends that consider themselves be laymen and expert laymen, you know, knowledgeable and about some things. And their attitude about it is going to be weird. So, here we go, right? How do we lay that aside? Can we lay that aside, that I'm superior? Or can we look at the information which is superior without being supercilious? If we do look to the scriptures, if we do look to tradition, if we do look to world history, if we do sit back and then we sort out, you know, like what is vital to our survival right now, you know? What's vital to our survival right now? Proving that I'm right, that the Catholic Church is evil, or that I'm wrong, or that you're wrong because Protestants are evil, or whatever the hell we want to talk about. Okay, because clearly, right, judgment it belongs to God. And when I go and I die and I stand before God, right, President Biden is not going to be there defending my rights. He's not going to be there defending the Constitution. God doesn't care about the Constitution. He knows it's a bullshit document. It's a bullshit document that they've been fucking with since it's been written. You know? My buddy Will brought up the Dred Scott decision today. Good example of total bullshit. Well, their hands were tied. They didn't have any other choice but to say that Dred Scott was property. Okay, yeah, they did, because it's apparent that human beings are not property, right? In a Christian society, people are not property. They're not property. You know, I'm pretty sure that the definition of slave in Jesus' time is probably a lot fucking different than the American, not the South, the American North and South, the American idea of slavery. Which was, to be fair, fucking brutal. Fucking brutal. Anyway, these were good people. They did good things. They didn't abuse these people sexually. They didn't abuse them physically. They didn't abuse them mentally. They didn't separate families. You know, the government's always been doing that. That's why, I'm like, it's really nothing new. Only it's the scale that it's happening on is fucking ridiculous, man. I mean, I've never seen such absurdity in my life. The most shocking, appalling thing I fucking seen this week was when I went to Walmart and saw how many people were wearing masks. I mean, I've said this before, but you have to be a complete fucking moron to believe that a mask is going to protect you from a virus or anything else. One of those masks. And they know you're ignorant. The government knows how ignorant you are. They educated you. They deliberately made you this ignorant. And it was funny because Will said, I did. I looked up Michel Foucault. I did. He didn't look up Michel Foucault. He looked up the panopticon. He looked up the prison. Okay, so he doesn't realize that through language, because Michel Foucault was all about language, right? And he was building on the backs of all the eugenicists throughout history, the Nazi Party being part of it. They didn't lose the fucking war. They didn't lose the war. America made a financial decision in their interest to put power in their hands to bail out England, because here in America we loved the Nazis. We were all for it. We were on board. We loved it. The people loved it. You know why they loved it? Is because of the propaganda. You hammer these slogans into people's heads. You tell them we're going to create order out of disorder. Where is the natural state of man? It's not disordered. The natural state of man has always shepherded the weak. The man has always taken care of his loved ones. Man has always fought to protect them. Man has always tried to create a civilization or a village or a dwelling. That's extremely fucking natural. That's exactly what we do. We create laws, and we have our rules in our families, and we have our rules in our communities. And we don't really need all these guys up here to give us these ridiculous ideas that are completely fucking stupid. I mean, fucking please God, hammer some common sense into the human race. So wild assertions. I get a lot of wild assertions. People would give me a disparaging comment, and then they use one word, circumlocution he used, telling me that I was using a big word that wasn't necessary. Okay, well, these big words are necessary. These words are necessary from the dead languages that they're derived from, because those definitions don't change. And that was another interesting point in the video that Shamrock sent me about the Tower of Babel, about confusion, about confusing the language. This is not a new tactic either, is it? It's not. It's not a new tactic. But we can always reference. So they say, oh, this is unprecedented. Okay, it's fucking precedented if you go back to the book of Daniel and you read about the Tower of Babel. Okay, that's your precedent. Right there. There's your precedent. Fucking 4,000 years ago. That's the precedent. The plagues in Egypt. There you go. There's precedent. That's precedent. That's actual history. That actually happened. That's verifiable history. Verifiable human history. You know, based on evidence. Stacks and stacks and stacks of evidence from all kinds of different sources. All kinds of eyewitness testimony. You can't argue with hate. You can't argue with hate. Politics is a joke, and people are sheep. I made a scene at the bank. I'm going to make more scenes. And you know what, dude? I mean, the way I see it is it's all coming to an end anyways. And everything's already been taken from me. Like, I have nothing. I am all alone. Right? Except for my friends on Facebook. And you know how much contact we have. 4 or 5 words. 4 or 5 words a couple times a week. You know, I don't know. I've been playing a poem game with John Jessup Kennan, which I've really been enjoying, writing poems and reading his poems. We're flighting. So, yeah, man, if we're going to have these conversations, and this is what I want to do, is I want to have some of these conversations. So, guys, Brian E. O'Connell, Rob Lally, Will Harris, yeah, maybe we could even get Duke Morgan in there. Yeah, Jesus Christ. He made me so effing angry. Like, what he did was truly fucking, he was deliberately trying to be harmful. And evil, man. You know, the ignorance is a sin. Ignorance means something willful. You know, I sent him a book, right? We were talking about Alcoholics Anonymous, which is a book which I believe to be a Masonic in nature, okay? So I really don't like the book anymore. I studied it for years, and now I don't think it's a good book. I think it's manipulative. I think it's evil, actually, to tell you the truth. I think it's wrong. I don't like the book anymore. But that made me mad. God, it made me mad. I would have fought with him if we were standing right in front of each other. I'd have hit him. I would have smacked him right in the cocksucker for that. I was angry. Still am pretty angry. You know, especially for somebody that claims to be my friend. That was not a very friendly thing to do. And we're going to have words over it. It is not going to be settled until it's settled. And I will travel to settle it. But, yeah. Yeah, Shamrock, we got to have these conversations. And, you know, Stan Hannes. So I'm going to send this video to you guys. All right? Let's see here. I'm going to send it to Brian, Shamrock, Will, Brian, Shamrock, Will. Who else did I say? I might send it to Duke, but he won't watch it. But I don't know. Brian, Shamrock, and Will might not watch it either. But and Stan. So if you guys will like and share the video, please. Please like and share the video. And as soon as I get that laptop, I got a Zoom set up already, and I know what computer software to get. And it's free, so I can bring us all up in split screens, little bubbles, and we can have a conversation. And this might be a good place to start because it kind of covers all the things that we've been talking about individually and personally with each other. Well, these guys haven't met each other yet, and that's why I want to have them together. And we're gonna have this conversation. And so Shamrock might have picked the first topic, which is cool with me, man. I like the first topic. So hopefully you guys will have some feedback for some of the things I've said. I don't know how much I swore this time, but Stan was like, you try swearing less, you get a better audience. And, he wanted me to kind of come up with more showy sort of thing. But I think kind of the artistic thing about this is if I don't come out with a big showy introduction, but maybe a pretty good introduction. I'm sure we'll have some sort of introduction to try and hook people, but I don't want to manipulate them. I want people that are interested in this, to contribute. So anybody that sees it, right, and has something to say, I don't want to just, like look at the comments feeding through when there's comments. There's comments sometimes. I want to address it. So if you really want to participate, you're welcome to contribute. And if you want to contribute, I will go over the things. I will go over all the comments, and I will take everybody seriously. Well, what if you got 100,000 guys? I'm going to take as many people seriously as I can. I'm not going to blow anybody off. I'm going to try not to be rude to anybody. Anybody that's rude, that might be one of the things, like, you guys are a bunch of dumb cocksuckers. I might be like, oh, well, I'm not really going to talk to that guy until he has something else better to say. I'm not going to stifle him or anything. He's right to his opinion that, I may or may not be a cocksucker, but really, I don't think it was going to have any bearing on the actual topic. So 26 minutes. Love you guys.